Hello and welcome to the UK Surf Show. We are your hosts. I'm Pete.
And I'm Mitch, and we're back, baby.
We're back. We're
We've been
back.
away.
Don't sound too excited about it, eh? Don't sound too excited.
I'm excited, but I'm also super tired.
Yeah, it is late at night. We had
Very
to have a delay because I had to go to the vets with the cats, which wasn't a good start to the evening.
You didn't come back from the vets with the cat, though.
No, that's it. So that's a shitter on this evening. So that's my excuse for my low mood. But this episode is we recorded with your good friend Swanny.
Swan dog.
And as we've said, it's we may as well have not been there because it was. I just remember laughing a lot.
100%, we could have left the room and nothing would have changed.
Yeah.
It would have continued as it went when we were there. It was fantastic. Yeah. And the best thing is the way that it came about, because it was the last night that you were up for the Scotland edition.
No, last morning, wasn't it? Because I went home that evening.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And Swanny messaged me asking who we'd had on. And I told him, and he was like, I could do better than that. And I was like, all right, come over then. And he did. So we'll let you guys be the judge.
Yeah. Oh, man, he's so funny. I mean, like, I said to you, didn't I? Like, have you got any videos of him surfing or anything like that to overlay over the top of this?
Oh, and I was like, well, I might as well just send pictures of random hospitals around Scotland, because that's where Swanny spends his time, sadly.
As you will find out from his stories on here and his stories of stories, they're just absolutely phenomenal. But before we get into this, sponsor of this show are Srface wetsuits. And if you head over there and use the discount code UK Surf Show 23, that will get you 10% off. But at the moment, they have a sale on the site as well. So you can actually get, at the moment, up to 30% off on some of the things.
30%?
So your code is 30% off of a wetsuit. You could be in a nice 3-2 remix for summer and 30% cheaper than it is at the moment by using the sale that's on site and our discount code as well. I don't know. Don't hold me to remix. It might be, I don't know what it is, but the message I got said that there is up to 30% off with using the code as well at the moment. So head over and check that out.
And what are you on about in a 3-2 for summer? It's literally been summer in the south of France, Cornwall, for like 3 months already.
You keep referring to Cornwall. I don't live in Cornwall. I don't go to Cornwall much. I go to Devon. Devon. I know it doesn't take me long.
Probably freezing there as well, though.
The thing is, if I go to Cornwall, I've got to drive past North Devon to get there. So why not just stop there?
Fair. No, that's a fair argument. Clean water.
You know, hey.
Clean water.
Hey.
Clean water.
Hey. Is there any clean water in the UK at the moment?
No, I don't mean clean as in free from like pollution and disease and the plague. Yeah. I'm talking about just straight up fresh looking clean blue water. You know, because there's something to be said for surfing in really clean looking see-through water. It is a nice thing to do.
Yeah. Well, let's move on.
Much.
No, let's move on. Let's move on.
Let's get into
let's get into this, and then we'll come back afterwards and talk a load of shit because we got loads to talk about.
Assuming I'm still awake.
Yeah, cool. Right, here we go.
Right, hey, my name's Grant Swindon, probably better known to everybody as Swanny. A lot of people know me as Swanny and probably don't know my real name, so I'm Swanny, and I just thought I'd give a bit of insight into what it was like for me to get started surfing mid to late 40s. It's a difficult time to start surfing.
So for context, Swanny, you're one of my good mates, one of the first people I got to know when I moved home or got posted home surfing. I didn't know you started surfing so late. So about in your late 40s?
Mid to late 40s.
So fucking hell, you've been surfing for 30 years. That's crazy, Swanny.
I thought that was the salt water. It's actually time that's done it.
Salt water has a horrendous effect. I've got a mate who's surfed his whole life and he's got like, I can only describe it as cheap leather skin. And I swear, if that's what a lifetime of salt water and sun does, I don't know if I want it.
You look at them through a magnifying glass, you see people waving at you like a map.
His face is like pleather.
Somebody sitting in the channel on the sides of your eyes.
So how did you get into surfing so late?
This is quite an interesting one. This is what I think is one of the...
Well, we'll decide who's interested.
This for me is one of the... So, I had, as when I was young, I skateboarded badly. I loved my snowboarding, loved mountain bikes. I loved anything where you got a bit of adrenaline, a bit of that.
Yeah.
But surfing was Hawaii. That's all I knew. The only place you could surf was Hawaii. That's how much I knew about surfing. Hawaii surfing. Anyway, one day when technology came along, I'm rubbish with that. I had an iPhone 4 and somebody introduced me to Groupon. It was a voucher system. You got 2 vouchers a day, came to your phone, offering you a discount on X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
One day, I remember lying in my bed, pings up the 2 messages for Groupon, surf lesson. I'm like, surf lesson? Has to be Hawaii. Clicks on it, comes up, Dunbar. I'm like, Dunbar? That sounds Scottish, yeah? Didn't know where Dunbar is. Right. But it sounds Scottish, yeah? Dunbar. Clicks into that, goes into that. 3 hour, it was a 2 or 3 hour surf lesson in Dunbar. I'm like, buy. So bought the lesson. Then, so anyway, tell you when it was and where it was. So I done a bit of Google research. There was a surf school in that area. Anyway, went to the lesson. And I didn't even, I've went to 3 lessons with them since. But the first lesson, I didn't even kind of went with any of my pals. I honestly can't remember who I went with. I was that focused on, I can't believe you can surf in Scotland.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Anyway, goes to the lesson, which was lucky, because if you start any sport, you should probably start with a lesson.
That makes sense.
This was just lucky.
Course,
I started with a lesson. Anyway, the basic etiquette, didn't hold the board in front of you when you're going into the sea. That's the main thing I could remember from my first lesson that I think is a huge thing to learn as you're going into the sea.
Yeah.
If you don't learn it that way, you learn it this way. Fuck, what was that?
You make the mistake.
Exactly, aye. So, got there, got the gear on, putting a wetsuit on for your first time as you can, it's pretty intimidating. Anyway, gets the wetsuit on, we're all marches down to the beach and knew nothing about surfing conditions or anything, but I would describe it now as probably big and messy.
Right,
but we're all go playing in the front.
Yeah, in the white
water. So I was in the water 2 seconds, walking out with this board at my waist, pushing it, and the first kind of pile of white water hit me, and instantly I was like, this is brilliant. Now, honest, that's it. I was like, this is like, I was like, this is like a game of a rugby or something like that. I thought, this wants to push me there, and I want to go out there. It's like it's like, I love competition. I just love a battle as such. So I was like, wow, this is great. You versus me, eh?
Yeah.
And I didn't kind of lay on the boards that day. Just got smashed to bits in the white water. Literally never stood up my board at all. I didn't kind of anybody in the lesson did. I didn't even think I'd seen anybody else. But just getting smashed. But the sun was out.
Yeah.
Kind of weather was nice.
You sure it was in Scotland?
Maybe that's why the lesson was so dear. The book Sunshine too.
Well, I mean, that's the first time I've ever heard anyone describe it as it was pushing me back and it was me against the sea and I wanted to beat the sea. That's the first time I've heard anyone actually describe it.
Which
like
obviously
that.
you never do. You never win.
But that was my initial
it's
introduction
a draw for a lot
to
of the
surfing.
period.
I hate it now. Ken, God damn, you want to fire me back the way I'm desperate to get out. Ken, there is a way to get out, but you didn't ken that at the time.
No.
Just went him, drove him, and I just remember thinking, I'm doing that again. Mm-hmm. Straight him, Gumtree.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Groupon. Straight on a Groupon.
Gumtree, bought a wetsuit, bought a surfboard.
Can you remember what wetsuit?
100% I can remember what it was. The wetsuit, I could remember the make. It was called Holy. Oh, that's what it turned out to be.
Terrible name for a wetsuit to wear in Scotland.
That's what it was. Few holes, a wetsuit. I just bought a large.
Right.
It turns out I'm a large tall anyway. I bought, and I thought, what size of board do I buy? But there's not a huge selection on Gumtree.
Yeah.
And you can imagine what was on there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm like, I'm 6'2". First board that comes across that was near enough to me and cheap enough, 6'4". I'm like, that's fucking huge. That's bigger than me. I'm standing up doing this. I'm like, everything I'd ever seen, surf-wise, Old Spice advert, short board, any biscuit tin was a short board. Never, I didn't even ken long boards existed, but I was like, 6'4", probably too big, but what? It was near me, it was cheap, bought it. It was like a gun. This thing was pointed at the front, white, narrow at the tail. Anyway, bought it, got the wetsuit, and just, at the time at the lesson, I says, where else could you surf in Scotland? Because I'm like, it's an hour and 10-minute drive. I'm like, he says, oh, you can surf in St Andrews. I'm like, St Andrews? No, I live in Methil Hill. 25 minutes to St Andrews, had only ever driven through it.
Yeah.
I live at the beach, leaving no waves, but anyway, I'd never been in St Andrews, I'd just driven through it on a motorbike. I says, leave St Andrews. I said, so anyway, got this board, wetsuit, drove to St Andrews, didn't ken there was 2 beaches.
I made that mistake.
Went to the big beach. Luckily, I didn't ken there was surf forecast charts, nothing. Went and there was waves, there was loads of white water. I was like, oh, jackpot, I'll go come here every day. Unbeknown to me, it could go flat for months. Goes in and just never stood up again, got smashed to bits and that. Then after, I got speaking to an old guy that day who was on a longboard, but I still didn't ken that he was, I just seen him surfing.
Yeah.
Tried to speak to him on the beach, didn't give me much cuttings, probably seen me as you're not even probably worth telling. You do look like you ever learned to stand up. So I'd say to him about his board, he says, oh, this board would be no good for you anyway, it's a pro longboard or something he'd said at the time. I was like, whatever.
Big
anyway,
dog.
I went home, went back a few times, there was no waves. I still didn't think you got surf forecasts, charts and everything. Just drive along and be flat.
Yeah.
Drive along and be flat. I'm like, when do the waves come? Sitting for hours, like, maybe then learned that you got outgoing tide income. Maybe when the tide starts to come in, there'll be waves.
Yeah.
Flat. It's wasted a lot of time. Anyway, eventually after a few, luckily turning up and there was white water, realised that this board was maybe no suited to me.
Right, yeah.
So after reading a few magazines, now I'm on Google watching surfing, I'm on YouTube watching surfing, I'm like, I maybe need a bit bigger board, but I'm like 6'4", looks huge, felt huge. Right. Gumtree, 7'4", I'm like, that's massive. Will I even get it in my van? I think I had a car at the time. Will I even get in my car? Anyway, 7'4", turns out it was even more a gun shape than the 6'4" board. But it was bigger. That's all I was told. I needed a bigger board. Got this board, went along, same thing, got nowhere. Still hadn't stood up a day. Once and fell off in that hole in the white water. You can't stand up. So, back on Gumtree, and I'm not plugging Gumtree, but that's where
it sounds like
that's where I was shot. Anyway, this guy's selling this Custard Point Minimal 8 foot. Brand new, apparently. I'm like, brand new. My dad used to tell me, if somebody's selling something brand new, it's either stolen or there's a story behind it. Yeah. Why do you sell brand new things? Anyway, I met him in a petrol station that way somewhere. I didn't even care where it was to this day. And it was brand new, in a bag, fins on it. Like, oh man, but it looked and felt huge. It was a minimal. Anyway, took that, and eventually, after just sheer perseverance, went for one more lesson. I eventually started to stand up, and but I was standing up in white water. Yeah, right. But I was hooked. I was hooked, full blown hooked. I loved it. Couldn't believe the workout, how physical it was, the elation, the challenge. This was going to be difficult to master. I was in my late 40s, mid to late 40s. Yeah. It was hard. I thought I was fit because I cycled and I ran, but I wasn't fit. I was getting my arse kicked every time I went in, trying to paddle out through all this white water. Anyway, I eventually started to stand up, but in white water. But whilst going to St Andrews, and this is an interesting bit of story, I started to meet some people who were also at the very same level I was at, and two in particular were two two women, one was ex-RAF. Anyway, we become good pals and we kept sort of going at the same time. So they had a wee bit more insight into charts and stuff, kept going at the same time. So they had been making the same mistake as me. They had bought, I can't remember the name of the boards, was it something, but they were short boards. And none of us were doing. Mine was new 8 fit. They were still on 5'11" and 6'1" or something.
Right.
So, but one of the girls started dating this surfer, right, who was a good surfer. So he was giving her a bit of tuition, and sometimes he was coming to St Andrews. Anyway, she went on a trip with him up north for a week in his van, and in that time he'd obviously introduced her to his longboard, right?
Yeah.
He was then going back to work, and he says to her, take my longboard, keep it for a couple of weeks, right? So unbeknown to me, she's new turned professional in the space, space of a week. She's on green waves, you know what I mean? I've never stood in the green waves, never had she at this point. So anyway, she said, I've got a shot of my boyfriend's longboard. I'll bring it the next time we've got to St Anne's. So it goes along there. I got there after her. She was already in the water, and there she was. I'll never forget it, trimming along this green wave, and I was like, how can you go for being at the same stage as me last week? Bearing in mind this is a year, we're about a year into the process, still struggling big time. And there she was trimming along this green wave, and I was like, no way. Anyway.
That was the point that waxing other people's windscreens was invented.
Just
the very point.
Sheer jealousy. I was elated for her, but I hated her. You know what I mean? Like, God damn, how you learned that in a week?
You just put that on a t-shirt, elated and hated.
She comes in, a 10-foot bare longboard. Had a wooden effect. It wasn't a wood, but it looked like it. 10 foot. And as you can, and as I can know, they'll catch
anything,
ripples, But she didn't give me a shot at it. I didn't know if she offered or no, but anyway, that was then had me thinking my 8-foot board's too wee, which was crazy when you think I had a 6'4", what I thought was too big. New thinking my 8 fit is too wee. But that was my go-to board. That's what I was starting to stand up in that. Anyway, she was like, you need to buy a longboard. You need to buy a longboard. So I was like, where do you buy a longboard? I've never seen. This is the first longboard I've seen.
Yeah.
The guy saying this was, and I'd actually got to feel it, touch it, and I was like, fuck, I need to buy a van. Okay, this thing's huge.
That's how it goes, isn't it? That's when it starts.
That's it, isn't it? I need to buy a longboard. Hold on, I need to buy a van first. Fuck. It's just gone from all of a sudden escalated to like $5,000 all overnight.
So Swanny, you need to buy a van, so you're back on Gumtree.
Do you know this podcast is brought to you by
eBay.
Buying a van is harder than buying a surfboard, as we know.
Yeah.
Anyway, she was like, you need to buy a longboard. And I'd met him a couple of times. He's like, you need to buy a longboard. I'm like, where do you buy a longboard? Anyway, long story short, I eventually found. So then I thought it had to be a bare longboard. Because these are the only ones that catch waves.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a bare longboard. And funnily enough, a shop in England somewhere was selling a bare longboard.
They got everything down there.
Waves, wetsuits without holes in them.
So
You're still in the holy wetsuit at this time.
No, I'd upgraded, but new. I was like, man, I'm freezing. So bought a decent wetsuit. That's a whole other story. Board-wise, Edinburgh, went for a wetsuit. I was snowboarding and skateboarding pretty much all my days.
You're a pretty good snowboarder, aren't you?
Nah, I'm all right, but I'm all right at some things. But I'm not. Nah, I'm all right. But I remember this is a true story. Board-wise in Edinburgh.
Does that suggest the rest isn't?
Right, I'm going to be honest now. I've never fucking surfed.
I've never even surfed.
Board-wise in Edinburgh. You ever been in it? Board-wise was a big snowboarding store. Unbeknown to me, it was a big surf store. But I seriously didn't ken surfing I'd went on in Scotland. Had been in the shop 100 times. Anyway, I'm in Board-wise one day looking for browsing snowboarding stuff. And as you went in the door in Board-wise, all the wetsuits, all the surfboards. Now, I've walked past these probably 30 times.
Paid no attention.
But now, because I've dipped my toe in the water, the first thing I look at as I go in the door is these beautiful boards and all these wetsuit skin. So I'm standing looking at the boards, and one of the shop owners, who I'm new pals with, his snowboard stay and his missus, and I think they've dabbled at surfing. He walked up to him, I'll never forget, he goes, "Don't start surfing." He says, "It'll ruin your life." Now, you've seen the stickers, "Surfing ruined my life." He says, I thought, this is no very good sales pitch. Ken, this is your shop. I might potentially be buying something here. You're trying to pick me off. He says, "Honest, they start surfing." I'm like, "You need to explain that a wee bit, Ken." He says, "Listen, I know people that have started surfing, left their wives, went travelling the world." He says, "There's loads of stories." He says, "People just," I'm like, I like it. It makes sense to me. I can understand how that might happen. Anyway, he says to me, I says, "Do you sell much of this stuff in Scotland?" You know what I mean? He's like, this is quite poor. I says, "Where do people surf about here?" This is still right at the start. He's like, "A lot of our staff surf before they come to work." I'm like, "What time do you open?" He's like, 8 o'clock. I'm like, "Surf before they come to work?" Where? How? When? How committed are they? He's like, "We've got guys in the shop that surf regularly. They'll surf at 5 in the morning and then come to work." I was like, fuck, that's dedication. Yeah, I'm like, unbeknown to me, I'd be doing this shortly later, but I'm like, fuck, that's dedication. Must be sleeping at their work. Because I had been paddling whitewater. I knew how hard it was.
Yeah.
These guys must be sleeping at their work. Must be knackered, but they could surf, so they probably not as knackered as I was trying to surf. But anyway, back to the longboard. Ordered this bear longboard, and they gave me a delivery date. There was 2 to pick for in the shop. Picked the red and white one. Red, I like red. Picked the red and white one, and they gave me the delivery date. It was a sunny day. I'd tell a couple of my mates. They were all in the garden, telling it was coming at 3 o'clock, and then there's a couple of extra mates turn up because there's cars parked at the house and that. And it was like we were expecting royalty or something to arrive. You know what I mean? Waiting on this board. And I'll never forget this either. The delivery van pulled up. The guy put the shutter up in the back door, pulled this big long cardboard box suit, and about this much of the board was sticking out the cardboard box. The red nose. I was like, "No way, that has to be damaged." The whole board was in a box, bar this. This, I was like, "No way, that has to be damaged." "Oh, mind check it when he brings it here." So he brings it here. I says to the boy, "Now listen, I've been told by the people I bought off, I have to check it. You have to wait while I check it." "I'm in a hurry, mate. I don't have time to wait. I need to get going." I says, "You'll need to wait." Anyway, we checked. There was a couple of wee marks and that, but it wasn't damaged.
Yeah, right, okay.
So away we went. 2 days later, I knew Kent there was a surf forecast. I was checking charts and stuff. You can which one I was looking at, and it could be a lot of nonsense at times. But anyway, goes along there on a new board, and first wave of paddle for a caught, and like actually was on the green wave, and I was like, "Wow, man, this is it now." Subsequently, since I've probably bought, I reckon, 8 longboards. And an interesting bit of that story is,
you've now left your wife and gone travelling.
I can nothing. I don't can much about surfing. I'm new to it. You know what I mean? I'm new to it. In surfing terms, I'm new to it. But I had somebody told me about Bing longboards. I don't know how the story came about, but so next time I'm on looking at them, but they're expensive. I'm like, man. Anyway, on one of the pages on social media, second-hand one came up for sale. It was in an area that I had a contact in down south. Bit of chatting, bought the board, and luckily got it brought up the road for nothing. I know a guy that has a haulage company, fired it in the van, came up, messaged me, says, I've just fired it in your mum's front garden. Left it there. Two years before I got him, my mum wasn't answering the phone, and there's the board lying in my mum's front garden. Now, I stay in a wee town where things occasionally go missing. You know what I mean? If you leave things lying about, they go missing. Luckily, it was still there. But anyway, the point of this story that I was getting to is, I didn't catch that many more waves on it.
Yeah.
And I bought another American-made longboard, and I didn't catch that much more waves on it. Then this guy who dabbled in surfing, bought a longboard, didn't like it, was selling it, asked me if I was interested in buying it. I was like, it was cheap. Says, I'll buy it, maybe keep the fin, sell the board, maybe sell the bag, whatever. I've done that all my life, bought and sell stuff. I'll buy it. Anyway, I bought it. It was in pretty decent nick. Had never heard of the brand. The shaper's name was Mark Neville.
Yeah.
You'd be aware of Mark Neville, famous shaper surfer, unfortunately no longer with us, but bought that board with the intention probably just to keep one at the bag or the fin. Anyway, I thought I'd take it and try it, and man, that thing that's the board I'm using, and then it just seems to catch every wave.
That board does. I often say when we're surfing, if Swanny paddles for a wave and he doesn't get on the wave, it wasn't a problem with Swanny, the wave was broke. And we always say that. It's so fucking frustrating.
Aye, just literally, as you can, the boards are like that, eh?
Yeah.
Addy came with the boards, the American made boards. I wasn't catching any waves. I still wasn't surfing.
The thing is, the American made boards, a lot of them that are like custom made, are made for American waves. Like places they're surfing.
Different water temperature, density,
that's why you need like shapers who know. You need to get someone to shape you a board if you're going to get one shaped that knows where you're surfing or has some sort of reference, because otherwise you're just going to get something shaped it's not going to work in everything. All the waves around the world are all different, aren't they?
Well, later I thought, if they make a longboard for what they class as a small wave, I would probably class that as a big wave in Scotland.
Yeah.
So that longboard probably catches that small wave pretty easy. Whereas in Scotland, a lot of time I'm surfing 2 foot waves.
Yeah.
Most of the time, that's what I'm surfing, small waves. The American. Well, I struggled. I'm not saying that's a hard and fast rule, but I struggled to catch waves. And then that English-made board, the guy that that's rode day waves all his days, I imagine, it just just in the last year there, I bought another that Mark Neville's boards are 10, just because I had that 10-foot bear story stuck in here.
Yeah.
And I bought a 10-foot Mark Neville longboard, and I bought it last summer, and we had the worst summer ever. I bought it for summer waves.
That's what happens.
For 1.5 waves, maybe even. And we had the worst summer ever. Pan flat.
Yeah. That's what happens. Every time you buy a new board, it's just like, no.
Definitely.
Or
so I had a couple
it goes, no, or fuck you.
Too big.
Yeah.
The first day I took it along, I was like, man, I should never have brought this.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be able to wrestle it in the water, so to speak. So that is how my journey sort of continued along the lines. And then, unfortunately, as it probably happens to most people, an injury appeared.
And how did this injury appear?
He's pointing at me.
I was pushed off my board.
There's plenty of GoPro footage. I mean, to be fair, Swanny says I pushed him off his board. There's plenty of footage of Swanny's board ploughing through my board, GoPro on both boards, and every time his board only hits my GoPro, we've not actually had board contact, but he just ploughs me straight through.
I think Mark shaped something into that board that hates GoPros, and I do.
You should see his GoPro mount as well. So
I was going to mention that.
Everybody knows what a GoPro mount looks like probably like a coaster size as a circle. Yeah. Swanny, the only way I could describe your GoPro mount would be to call it. No, it wouldn't even be a dinner plate. I'd call it a TV camera crew mount. There's a sound man stands on there, his feet clipping.
I never put it on. It was on it, but honestly, how big is it?
It's like enormous. It's like a record player.
It's got GoPro written on it. I think it's for when they first maybe built their first GoPro, and it was probably the size of a big DVD player or something. Kind of big. That was, they need it.
I've actually got the GoPro one at home, the first GoPro, and it's not that much bigger than the GoPros are out now.
Like
but it was the housing that went round it.
Yeah, it was huge.
You had to clip into everything, and I seem to remember the mounts were a little bit bigger, but when you compare it to the ones now, it's probably a lot bigger.
Oh, this is
it's
big.
It's pretty special. Yeah, it's like
you could trip it if you were. You could certainly lose a finger if you were cleaning your board or watching your board and you caught the mount.
So what was the injury that occurred then? How did the first injury?
I have had loads of injuries, and I think I class myself as unlucky. I surely know everybody or surfing, but I don't think would be as popular as if everybody got as many injuries as I've had. I have been pretty unlucky in the water. I didn't know how.
Because he still holds his board in front of him when he's walking out.
I forgot my first lesson.
Day one, week one.
That's how I've hardly any teeth.
Overexcited.
First injury was a 5.5 day sunshine, glorious. Me and they two lasses and another couple of guys. I remember a post that I put on social media. Wow, it was busy. It was busy at St Andrew's Day. Counted 11 people in the water. That was
11 people.
Aye, that was 2013.
Right. Okay.
11 people in the water. Classed that as a busy day.
So a year before I started surfing.
So I'll let you ken, because just recently Fraser counted 81 people on a summer's day.
Jeez.
And on the smaller beach,
that's
busy.
A lot
of people in the water.
There's no a park there, is there, for 81 people?
Well, a lot of them live up there, so
that injury, just unlucky. Just at the very end of the day, shallow water, fell off, hard sand. There's parts of that beach it's
exposed,
rocky, but hard sand, but probably a round pebble, this sort of size, tucked outside rail, 50-50 rails, which I didn't kind of were called that at the time. That's caught the water, flicked me off backwards, landed on this, right on the top of my pelvis, right in there, and instantly knew I was injured. Couldn't stand up. Flat my boot in the shallows. Couple of people seen me, came here, helped me out. Got up to my van. I've broke loads of bones over the years, snowboarding, skateboarding, mountain bikes. Always managed to drive him. Sat in the van like pushing the clutch and was like, oh man. Anyway, I drove straight in, probably still under the influence, sort of that adrenaline. Got him, couldn't get out the van. Anyway, went to hospital that night, chipped the top of my pelvis, but I was peeing blood. That's what made me so they bruised my kidneys and stuff like that. So I was on the couch for like 7 weeks or something. But at that time, I was like, I wanted to be at the beach, but I couldn't get to the beach. Anyway, the next injury was it just fell off in shallow water and landed on a rock. And I had boots on. I'm a diabetic. I have to wear boots.
Too much tablet?
That's a Scottish sweet for anyone that doesn't know.
That's how I catch a few waves, because just take loads of tablet. My blood sugar's about 50 and loads of energy.
Just pure sugar.
It's like cheating. Diabetic cheating. And I didn't what kind of rock that was I hit. The bone came through the side of my foot, and so I was loving surfing at the time. I was loving it still, but I was loving it, and I was like, oh, man. So I just put patches there. It was just through the surface of the skin, but I just kept putting these patches there. And then I was cutting round bits of foam this thick, putting it round it so the boot wasn't touching the bit that was sticking out. Surfed like that for about 4 weeks, and it get worse and worse. Because it technically wasn't that sore. I don't know how the bone had come through. You'd think if you had a broken bone like that in your foot. I've got the pictures. They're no nice to look at. But anyway, after...
we'll put one over. Over. So warning, if you're watching on YouTube, there's about to be a picture here.
You'll see this thing, man. It's sticking through, So anyway, after about 4 weeks, I went and seen about it, and they says, like, you need an operation. We need to... So that was the first time I was kind of out for an extended period. And that was when I was like, I still want to go to the beach, even just to watch.
Yeah, right.
That's when I started.
That's torture.
I'd always taken pictures. All my life I've taken pictures, but I never had a camera that was good enough to take pictures of people in the water. Because that's snowboarding, you're next to the jump. Surfing was never going to... I was using these wee disposable, but wee Instamatic cameras.
Yeah.
But I was like, my mate had an alright camera that had a zoom on it. So I bought that off him. I says, I'm still going to go and I'm going to take pictures. I love taking pictures. I literally love taking pictures. I'm as happy taking pictures of people catching good waves as riding them. I literally am. I love taking pictures. So that injury got me into taking my first sort of surf pictures. I took a couple on the phone, they didn't work. Not an iPhone.
No, the rubbish,
I mean, trying to zoom in. So I was going, and then just so happened, injured, the swell just was like, it was like there was waves every day. They were good quality, like dragging and it was December, and I was in there. I was wearing my big, my dry robes, fitting the cast up in the hill, taking different angles and that. But I was getting him. It was like so. Get him, put the SD card in, all these pictures of all people that you knew. Hours sifting through them, tagging everybody in them and that. Just like hours a day, and you can what it's like to go through material. It takes time,
Yeah.
But I was enjoying it, because occasionally you capture what I class as a good picture, or a funny picture, or somebody getting wiped out. Who doesn't like to watch somebody coming off the board the wrong ways? So in a picture, so laughing at them, but it's funny when you look at them. But so I was posting loads of pictures at that time, and then Addy kind of the crowd for that area got together and bought a voodoo doll of me. But man, I got injured. Well, broke my feet twice again after that. Ribs once. Which is quite
I mean, if you say you started surfing mid to late 40s, and by all accounts at the moment you've been injured for 90% of that time, you've probably got about 10 days surfing under you.
To be fair.
That and 2 of them were good days.
To be fair, when me and Swanny are chatting about the surf forecast, or Swanny will message to say, there's surf. How quickly I leave from here to get to the surf depends on me asking the question, are you injured or not? Because I want a cameraman. What I've decided, I guess we'll come on to your big injury in a minute through lockdown, but Swanny will do anything to get a free fucking breakfast in hospital. I swear that's all it is.
Is that a Swanny thing or is that a Scottish thing?
That's a Scottish thing, trust me, most definitely. So that's when I started taking pictures, and so it made the injury bearable, and it kept me in the loop, so to speak, and I was still communicating with people and people, and you get people like, thanks for the picture, and that's all you kind of ask when you put it. And some people had pictures, and that's a nice hinky when somebody uses your pictures, their profile picture, whatever. It's just nice to be. It was like I felt like I was getting a wee bit back. No, I hadn't been even surfing long enough to think about getting stuff, but I enjoyed doing it.
You were giving enough back by letting all the shortboarders catch some fucking waves. That was more than enough, Swanny.
So that's I've been unlucky injury wise, but luckily the day were injury free.
What's the big injury then?
Big injury, lockdown.
Nah, what was the big injury?
The bike.
Oh, when I got knocked off.
Yeah.
That was instant. Well, that was in St Andrews. I love my bikes and cycle to St. I just cycled to St Andrews. That's 36 mile there and back, but it was a route I would do just to go and look at the beach.
Yeah.
I remember cycling to the beach. No surf forecast. Cycles to the beach.
This is after the first lockdown.
Aye.
Or maybe during, but you were allowed to go out again.
Aye.
I think it was around that time.
On your own.
You still feel like you've got to justify it.
I know.
On your on your own.
Yeah,
on your own. I was on my own. Honest.
Didn't stop once.
It's fucking ages ago now. You were out in lockdown.
Well, interestingly, it was a time because people watching are probably heard before. Like I live right on the beach in Caldy. I can surf out on the beach in Kirkcaldy, right? And through lockdown, that was I would run or cycle every day, and if there was waves, I would go surf, literally within 30 metres of my house. And you remember, there was a day I was teaching my daughter to surf right out the front of the house, and I just pushed her onto a wave, and 2 coppers had ridden past on push bikes. It was like fucking 21 Jump Street, right? And they'd ridden past on their bikes, and I was about to go on a fit. What's happened there? And pushed my daughter onto a wave, and she caught the wave, got to her feet, and I was like whooping and hollering, proper getting stoked for her. And these two coppers looked over, like, made eye contact, and I was like, oh fuck, here we go. And honestly, one of the coppers just went, yeah, and threw me a shaka, and I was like, yes. But the same day, if you remember, I don't think it was you, it was, I don't know who it was, but one of your mates was out either on a sup.
No, on a bodyboard.
On a bodyboard, and he got dragged out of the water
by the police.
Yeah, and arrested. Like the next town over, like the messaging. I know I'm still trying to justify it, but the messaging was so different. So I'm getting a shaka. Next town up, people getting arrested. Probably because it was bodyboarding, though. That's fair. That was the crime.
Do you know what? The whole time Later was on the show, we said we'd keep it fully like, you know, surfing, any surf craft, like bodyboarding, supping, whatever. We'd try and keep like pretty neutral. As soon as he's on, he's like, fucking bodyboarders, fucking suppers, fucking, it hates e-foils, everything. Hates a lot.
Yeah, but they can listen from prison.
Phone's in prison. You
exactly.
It's your right to get a phone in the prison. So that story about him and the bodyboard, Steve, I mean, he can see the beach for his house. Yeah. So remember there was the whole distance thing. He can see the beach for his house. 5-minute walk, 1 minute drive.
Yeah.
I had surfed leaving that day. As you can leave, that's no new secret sport. Leaving gets a wave once a year, sometimes twice.
Yeah.
It's 2 minutes from my house, but it never gets a wave. Twice a year, maybe. Once a year, definitely. Kirkcaldy know that much. More regular, but there are two beaches that are no far from each other. But occasionally you can surf it. Yeah. Unbeknown to me, having lived there 40 odd years at this time, you didn't think you could surf in Scotland. But that day, I had been in the water. I think this is how it came about. I had surfed for about an hour, got out, messaged Steve,
please,
because I'm on my own. I'm like, I'm not doing any harm. But at that time, you weren't allowed to surf, apparently. Messaged Steve saying, by the way, I've just had a cracking wee surf at Leaving. If you've got time, get down there.
Yeah.
2 to 3 foot glassy. So I went up the road, but I thought I'll jump back on the bike and go down. If Steve's in, I'll get a couple of pictures. I'm on the phone at this time.
Yeah.
So gets on the bike, comes down. I remember cycling down into Leaving, and I seen a police van at the car park that you would park to go into surf. And I thought, cycling along. Then I sees another police van. I was like, no way. So what I think's happened, somebody's seen me surfing and probably reported me. I was lucky, I'm got out just after that.
You stitched your mate up.
I've spoke to Steve about this. I mean, I think that's what happened. Goes round and there's the 2 policemen walking down the beach. So now I'm like, no way. So I cycles there, picks the bike up, gets the phone out, I'm videoing it. And they're walking down, Steve's in the water still. I sees them right up to the water's edge, giving them and the next thing, one either side of him, frog marching him up the beach. And I was like, he's in there on his own, so he can spread no germs, apparently.
Now he's with 3 people.
And they're here giving him this. Name my son, if that's what was going on at the time. It was like, I'm like, you'd have just increased the chances of the 3s, probably.
Yeah, totally.
If it was a true, proper pandemic, the 3s have just killed yourself, technically, or killed each other or whatever. But they marched him up the beach, and I'm standing with the video because I'm out on my bike, which cycling was allowed. I'm out on my bike, standing and allowed to video, apparently. And they come walking up in the water, hating the fact that I was videoing. And I was like, I said something. As they got to him, I went, "What's happening, Steve?" And the policeman replied, "No, I forget what he said, but he was letting me ken he wasn't impressed by me. He was saying something pretty cheeky, I would say, back towards me. Anyway, they marched him out of his van and they gave him a stern talking to. Steve's in his late 50s. He's surfed all his life. He's fair Wales. He looked shocked. Steve,
you can't hold that against him,
though. He looked shocked. Anyway, so I sent him the video that night. I says, you have to take this story to the newspaper. You might even make £1 out of it. I says, Scottish. I says,
get a free breakfast.
So I sent him a video. I says, look, you need to take this to the papers. But Steve's a quiet guy. It's no posting on social media and stuff. And I says,
"Do you make a pound?"
Well, this was...
I see what that's
When
going.
it comes in as well. Hold on.
Well,
This is where I sent him. I says, look, Steve, I would love to post this. I shot the video. I says, you're in it. I says, I'm sending you the video. You do with it what you want. But remember, if you make a pound, I shot the video. I says, you do with it what you want. But I says, I think you should go to the papers. That's a huge story. You can look what they've done to you.
Yeah.
It's an injustice. But he's another shoot. He didn't want. And so he chose not to. So the video is. I've still got the video. He's still got the video. It's never been seen, but
maybe it might be on
Yeah.
here if he says it's okay.
hopefully one day Steve will maybe look at it in a different light and go, I think he was proper.
I think you should ask Steve if we can overlay the video on this.
but the thing is as well, I mean, it might not sound like a massive deal, but the fact that he's getting arrested the next town up and I'm getting shackers thrown back at me, that, without going back to, pandemic times, but the messaging was the problem. Like, how did no consistency? So getting back, you were riding up to St Andrews, kind of lockdown time.
Road bike, cycle St Andrews and back. I remember cycling when there one day, no forecast planned as such, and there was waves. There was like 2 foot glassy sunny. It does happen, trust me.
Bollocks.
And I was like, there was named in the water, and I was like, it's a long, 18 mile there, 18 mile back. It's pretty hilly, undulating, let's say. And I was like, I'll not go on him to come back, but I was like, sat and watched it for about an hour. I was like, wow, man, can't believe I've missed it surf, because they're pretty rare in Scotland. Okay, well, they are pretty rare in Scotland. Nice days on the longboard. But anyway, spoke to Sam at the Toasty Shack.
Big up.
Blair with him.
Where's that?
Cheese Toasty Shack, St Andrews, East
Is that what it's called? Or is it called the Cheesy Toast Shack?
Cheesy Toast Shack.
There you
What
go.
did I call it?
I always call it the Cheesy Toast Shack. Cause
No, you don't. You always call it the Cheese Toasty
Cheese
Shack.
Toasty Shack. I don't know now.
It's the Cheesy Toast Shack.
Aye, I didn't come
Cheesy
I call it
toast. Toasty Shack.
Toasty Shack, aye.
Anyway.
It doesn't affect your story.
It doesn't affect your story. It just affects him.
Spoke to Sam, had a Blair with him, then says, right, I'm going to fire him. And I was, 5 minutes out of St Andrews and got clouted by a car, hit and run, just like proper melted me. And, but I woke up in the hospital in Dundee Hospital, which I couldn't understand because I knew I was in St Andrews.
Free breakfast.
So I had cheese dripping down my chin. Maybe that's what
And Mitch had waves all to himself.
Maybe that's what caused it. A bit of cheese had dripped off my chin. The car skidded on the cheese and veered into
So
me.
you're blaming the Toasty Shack.
I'll tell you what.
Is there a claim there?
I'll tell you what. The things some of these guys will do to get the waves to themselves. I tell you, they'll just take you off your bike and
that's
everything.
what I'm saying. This voodoo doll, like, get rid of him again. We'll guarantee to get.
What I remember is I was at Special K's. She lived at the time. She was in Gorebridge, which is way other side to where we are, and just getting a phone call from you. So we're in lockdown again, and phone call from Swanny. I was, oh, Swanny, hello, and you were like, you phoned me, and you were like, who's this? I was like, what the fuck do you mean, who's this? Like, what are you selling? Who's this? Like, do you want my last three of my maiden name?
That board they bought, the fin off it. You want to buy it?
You were like just so confused, and which obviously, and I was confused as fuck. And you were like, I'm in hospital. I was like, fuck, what's happened? And you're like, I don't know. And I was like, honestly, it was the most surreal conversation. I was like, right, where are you? And he was like, I'm in Dundee. So I think I got run over, and I was like, right, I'll come up. And then I realized off the phone call, I was like, you can't go to hospitals, can you?
Nah, even my mum wasn't allowed.
You can't go. Nobody can go to the hospital. And I was like, shit. And you just laid there. I don't know how long you were in for. It was a while.
I wasn't in long, but long enough that you went out. I maybe should have stayed in longer, but anyway, you went out. But it was
because you were found in a ditch.
So what happened was I was hit by a truck of sorts, or a jeep or whatever, something like that. The lady kept going. I was unconscious at the side of the road, but there's a bit of a ditch. But the guy that actually stopped told an interesting story. He said he stopped. My bike was lying in the middle of the road. Now, where's the cyclist?
Yeah.
He says the 5 cars in front of him drove round my bike and kept going.
Fucking arseholes.
He was a cyclist.
Yeah.
Seen the bike, stopped. He found me, phoned the ambulance. Unbeknown to me, though, the lady behind the car that hit me seen it happen and went after the car. Phoned her husband in the car and says, I've just seen a hit and run. What do I do? He says, get the Reggie and go back.
Yeah.
He phoned an ambulance too. So her husband in his house phoned an ambulance. So the guy that found me had phoned an ambulance. He phoned an ambulance. She luckily got the registration, came back, gave the story to the police who had arrived with the ambulance by this time. I think I woke up in the ambulance and then woke up again in Ninewells, wondering why I wasn't in St. Andrews. I had St. Andrews in my head. I couldn't remember.
I was playing golf a minute ago. What happened?
I couldn't remember my name, nothing, my date of birth. I just remember this huge bang and all these bright lights. The bright lights turned out were in that ambulance.
Yeah.
Looking up at the roof. So eventually, well, they got the driver, they got the registration, went to the door. Police got the details, went to the door, and there was the vehicle in the garden. I think the wing mirror was off, a bit off the front bumper. Chapped the door, and the old lady opened the door and says, I did hear a bang, and maybe should have stopped.
But do I remember right? When the police came back and spoke to you, did they say something along the lines? Did they open with something along the lines of, I know, but she was old though, almost as if that was an excuse?
Aye, aye. She's an old lady, yeah.
But what are you saying? It kind of sounds like, well, either it's excusable because she's old, therefore, she's old, she's allowed to be a racist, bigot, homophobe because she's old, and we should give that. Or she's told to be driving. Like, what are you saying? It's one or the other.
Yeah.
Aye, no, that pitties out the game for a while too. So back to taking pictures and. I was lucky I got away with that. It's funny when I look at the map there, I think, you ran me over.
Did you think of that as soon as you sat on the seat?
Anyone listening that have no reference, but you'll have to just go to the YouTube and look at just what happened.
Why have we not done this before?
I don't know why
I'll get you. That doesn't work.
I don't know why that jumped to me there. It just did.
Well done, Swanny. That's why we wanted you on.
No, that just seemed to. That was a weird.
So we've spoke about your injuries, spoke about you getting into surfing. You've mentioned a lot about small waves, but you're actually free breakfast. You're actually a bit of a charger, Swanny. I know you might not say you are.
Nah,
but see, this is where it goes. But I've seen you sending it on some waves that I wouldn't even consider wondering where my wetsuit was for. You've been on some absolute bombs round here, spots unknown. I've seen you go.
Is that all the ones you've showed me while I've been here?
Yeah. The ones I know on you pinned on the map.
See, it's an exaggeration there because it was flat.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that as. I think when you're introduced to someone having comfy days, a bit of snowboarding. I've skydived, I've bungee jumped, I've heliboarded, I've done the things that I like excitement. The big waves. The problem with surfing is things can go pear-shaped really damn quick in the sea, as you know.
Yeah.
And big waves, wow. That's exciting, And it is exciting, like, wow, look at the size of it. Do I remember being on a big day, 6 of us standing on the grass, nobody's in the water yet. So it was, we didn't get big waves, but we get big waves we could only get as big as you could get on your bit of beach, or that area. But anyway, it was big and there was nobody in the water yet. I was like, you going in, I'll maybe get 10 minutes, and
this, 10 days.
And this lassie come running past, first in. No, that's not soon sexist bits. No, it's just this woman come running past a board and went straight in. I was like, I'm going in.
Yeah.
And got rumbled that day, on a big wave. Until you're under the water without a half decent breath, and come up, and get a mouthful of white water. The next thing you soon realise that just because you can surf or stand up on a 2 foot wave doesn't mean you could then go in and jump on the big stuff. You can, but I tried it a few times, and I've been luckily enough to catch a couple of no bad size waves, and it's great fun.
Hold on, he's no bad size wave. What are we talking?
Easy double overhead.
Yeah.
We didn't get huge waves, but we get.
All right. So you're 6 what? 6'2". So how high above your head is it?
If it's above my head, I class it's a big wave. It's a big wave.
Exactly, that's what you need to know.
We didn't get the same as like you guys get. There is areas in Scotland, you know what I mean? There's monstrous waves, but in this area, we get big waves. I call them big waves. Guys that come from wherever would call them wee waves, I imagine. But they'll hurt you. You can get caught out and you can get into bother. You can get I can get into bother in 1.5 waves. I can get.
Well, it sounds like you can get any bother sitting on that seat, Swanny.
But I remember going out into a bigger sea on my own at one of the spots about here, but no the regular spots on my own. And it's the first time, so having always surfed beach breaks on longboards, always stepping off into
sand.
I came off this decent sized wave, and there was no sand. There was nothing to stand on. I jumped, or I fell off, or jumped off the board, and I went right under. First time I had ever been in water where when you come off the wave, you couldn't stand up.
Yeah,
and that was a different experience because it was a big choppy sort of day, and it was like, whoa, you come off and here you can't stand up to save yourself.
Yeah.
You're going under the water, and that was when my first introduction to sort of a bigger sea. I thought, whoa, you shouldn't be out here in your lane for starters, and you need to come out your lane. But that same area, that same spot, I went in one day. Remember you, me, and that. Who was the other guy?
Lewis.
Aye.
Yeah.
Remember
Lewis
that day
Hamlin.
along there?
Yeah,
it was
I know
a
what you mean.
decent
Yeah,
enough
it was
size
massive,
day.
yeah.
So I had been in there.
That was Storm Arwen week.
Right, aye. I had been in there on my own one day the day after a big storm, and it's still big and chunky.
I can overlay the footage of that. There's no references in it. That's insane.
This is an interesting story. It's short. Listen.
Well, we're here to listen, Swanny. Choose for the direction.
Does that make me a director? I was in the water, shouldn't have been in, on my own, big and choppy and messy, sitting on my board, sky overcast and everything like that, no sunshine. And I seen something in the water that caught my eye. It was a green coloured item, looked like a bit of boat sail or something, but I thought, I'm nosy. It might be something I can sell. Get a breakfast. I'll paddle out it. And this is true. I paddled out it, and it was what looked like a bit of tarpaulin or a sail or something. So I've took a hold of it. I've pulled it to the side of my board. Now we're in the sea's moving about, a lot of water.
Like your makers.
Stay. A lot of water moving about, and I've pulled this bit of plastic tarpaulin, whatever it was, towards me. And unbeknown to me, it's been whatever it was. It's had a bit of rope tied to it, which has been used to tie it to whatever it was on. A long bit of rope, probably this thick, under the water. And the water was moving about. And I kid you not, I'm out there on my own, overcast day. And as I've pulled it towards me, onto my board, I'm imagining the bit of rope that was hanging from the bottom of it got caught sort of in the current underneath, and I felt something do this. Wrapped round my lower leg, and I telling you, I shot it. I let go of this bit of plastic, and I let out this noise that only a 8-year-old lassie could make. I screamed as I went, fuck, what? Can this? Someone grabbed my leg under the water. Water's manky. Over, and I feet up on the board, and I fucking stormed into the beach, go to the beach. And it wasn't until moments later on the beach that I realised that it was probably a bit of rope hanging off the tarpaulin. But in that moment, somebody
It's the Kraken.
or some hang in the water grabbed my leg, and poor man,
There's nothing like those. Every now and then I get them. If you sat out there, I just like happily sat out there on my surfboard, and just for some reason think, I'm just gonna pull my legs up a minute. Just like, you just get these irrationals every now and then. What if something just comes and eats me now? Like,
that put the shivers up me about. I've had the seal come up and it gives you the startle. You get the fright of your life when a seal blows its nose next day. It's like, you're like, fuck.
Then throws the hanky at you.
Dispose of that, please.
I mean, like, we've heard about some of your horrific accidents. So there's like one of the questions we normally ask is like, what's your worst wipeout? But I think you've answered that like several times over. What's your best wave?
Was that your worst? Have you had a worse experience in the surf than that? The injuries and that rope touching you?
That rope touching you will sound like nothing to telling it as a story. That day it happened to me, I got a fright.
Yeah.
Like a proper fright. And I've had frights. I got a fright in the water. Someone in the murky water put their hands in my leg. I got a proper fright. I've had frights where you think you're going to drown, you're struggling to get a breath. I've had frights where I think I've broke something. That was a proper fright that day.
It's just because it's the unknown, isn't it?
Still didn't come out, but I'm guessing. It's been a bit.
So you didn't end up with a free breakfast on that one then?
No, man, but I didn't even kind of ate my breakfast the next day. I was still pretty traumatised. But kind of trauma can stop you eating for a couple of days.
So what about your best wave? What's your best wave do you reckon you've ever caught?
I think I probably commented on it. I got into social media. I use a couple of them. Instagram.
Oh, Swanny's known as Steve from the comment section. Just disagreeing with everyone.
I post picture. I post what I think is my good surfing pictures on Instagram, and I post loads of surfing pictures on Facebook. But I remember my best wave was after Storm Frank. Don't know if that rings a bell, but it was when I had that bear longboard.
Yeah.
A mate of mine, Liam, Dunfermline, his wife had bought him an hour with a photographer for in the sea.
That's pressure, isn't it?
So Liam says, there's waves at St Andrews. It was the day after Storm Frank. He says, and that guy, photographer's come to take pictures. Can you make it along? I went along. Anyway, it was still a sizable day after. And bearing in mind, I'm only just a year and a bit probably into surfing. And the guy took a picture, got a picture of me catching what I thought at the time was a bomb. It was a big wave. I got onto the clean face and rode along it. And funnily, took a few pictures on that wave. The first couple looked like a proper wave. But at the end, I've rode it till, like I do on every wave, ride it right till...
Right to the beach.
Till I could hear my fin dragging in the stones.
Yeah.
But at the end of that wave, I've given myself some high five. I've got so there's a picture.
Self five.
There's a picture of pan flat. I'm still standing on the board, loads of foam in it. It's still floating. It's pan flat and with both my arms in there.
Claiming it. Yeah.
Claiming it, yeah. So here's this picture of me dropping in. It's a nice wave. And this picture of me claiming this wave pan flat. So that was when I remember, wow. So I went him and I posted something about it. And I used the word, I was stoked, having never used it.
Right,
but I've been reading stuff.
Feel like a phony.
I'm new. Because I caught a big wave, I'm going to use surfing terminology in my posts.
Yeah. You were stoked on your wave for that day.
I was stoked. And I bet the first 3 comments were mates of mine who could nothing about surfing, know that I did, and just ripped me for using the term stoked. And I was like, man, maybe shouldn't have used that.
Yeah.
And I think I used it for years.
I was overjoyed at my waves today.
Really happy. It's not the same, is it?
It's not got the same, yeah. I was like, all these laughing faces, stoked, listen to you, all this kind. I was like, oh wow, but no, I can remember. I can, funnily enough, remember a lot. My memory's no great for the rave scene. But
should we get some of them stories? That'd be a different
I can
podcast.
remember.
Alexander Graham Bell inventing the telephone.
I can remember a lot of.
You can remember sitting next to Jesus in school.
Let's cut him in half and count his rings to see how old he is.
The older a man gets, the longer he had to walk to school.
How old
Apparently, the further he had to walk to school.
How old are you, Swanny, if you don't mind me asking?
I've just turned 56.
So you're not that old then?
I think I'm old. My body's old. I've wrecked it earlier.
Was that? Yeah, that's from raving though. I don't count.
I've wrecked it. I've broke everything. I break easy, or I'm unlucky.
You like Mr. Glass?
Mr. Glass,
Unbreakable.
I just break. I break when I hit the ground.
What sports? You've done some extreme sports. Of all the sports you've done in your time, what sports have you not injured yourself in?
I injured myself. I get injured.
I was going to say stick to that.
I'm unlucky. I get injured. I'm unlucky. I'm either unlucky or I'm really rubbish at everything I do. So it's one of the two. I'm a bit of both. A combination of the both.
Shows dedication though, don't you think? That you'll go back to it even after some horrific injuries. If you want to go back to it, it shows the passion and love.
Aye, I mean, and like these big waves, 2 foot overhead. That was where I kind of first met Tito, and it was Tito that actually introduced me to you in a sense, because I don't know how Tito and I met, but longboarder, comes from California, new living in Glasgow area, but him and I would just go looking for 2 foot waves. We just did. We just went up and we loved surfing when you could 2 foot waves. And one day he says to me, so I'm not into social media, I'm not that great with it, but I was maybe just introduced to Instagram, but he says, do you know follow this guy called Scottish Surfer for your area? He says, he's posting videos at the beach now. He says, if you follow him, you'll maybe see when there's waves nearer you.
Oh, so that's how it started. You just wanted my insights as a webcam. It's not because you like me.
That's the same as you did the other day when we were over by Glasgow and talking about waves to someone, and they go, "Oh, there is a wave actually." And all right, yeah.
And that's when I started following you, and I was like, "Wow, you actually get waves occasionally in Kirkcaldy."
Nobody believed me. People still don't believe me.
I don't
but
believe you.
It doesn't happen, so don't even bother looking.
There's nothing out there at all.
Let's get a dip at the windy bit.
It's not called Kirkcaldy anyway. It's called Shitcaldy. There's so much shit on the floor down that road you took me down.
Yeah,
I think you call it the High
Dog.
Street. Well, he said it might have been human, so I don't know.
Well,
You never know, do you? You never know.
But no, that was why that was how I kind of and the crowd when I first started going to St Andrews, there was probably 5 guys that surfed there, and they were all older. I class people as old. Class myself as old, but I class these guys. I say they're all older, but they're all actually the same age as me and younger. But I don't know why I do that. But anyway, they were all similar age to me, but there were 4 or 5 guys. You know them all.
Yeah.
They were all riding shortboards, and here was me and these other 2 lasses trying to learn. And the next thing we've all got longboards, and we're just getting in the road. Yeah. We are. We're just getting in the road.
Is that chick still about?
She's up on Lewis now.
Okay.
She was like me. She just fell in love with surfing and went and says, I need to surf every day.
Ruined her life, and she's gone.
I need to surf every day. I need to be closer to waves. It's frustrating. We, as you can see, it's frustrating being a surfer on this part of the East Coast. So. But I remember the guys kind of initially giving us a bit of the cold shoulder, and I get it now. I didn't get it then, but I get it now. But now I'm like good pals with them all, Ken. Yeah. One day when it was a bit bigger and we were flapping about in the whitewater, we got out the back on a bit bigger day, and I think one day one of them went, well, at least you've made the effort to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they started to speak a wee bit more.
That's what he said to me in Newquay, wasn't it? It was I can't believe you got out here on your longboard.
It was enormous to be fair.
And we've got a paddle down next to him. He's like, I can't believe you made it out here. And I did that thing and turned around and went, fuck, I got to go back in.
That happened to me once in Dunbar because we got the lesson there. So I started going there a few times.
Yeah.
And I remember staying overnight in the van, got up in the morning, I could hear the sea and I was like, oh, that seems bigger than yesterday. Still no clued up on forecasts and stuff. 4:30 in the morning or summer's morning, but one of the random big days in the summer, got ready, went down to the beach, and New Dunbar beach is huge. There was nobody on the beach. It was big and stormy,
Well, that should tell you something.
Aye, but didn't he hear enough knowledge?
Yeah.
Went in the water at high tide, and it pretty dumpy at Dunbar at high tide. Waited on a wee lull, got out. Remember thinking, I shouldn't have been here in my own. Looking along the beach, hoping there's dog walkers. There was nobody. I've never seen Dunbar Beach. It was deserted. It was windy. And I was like, man, I maybe shouldn't have been here. I'll just go back in. Aye. Well, how am I going to get in? I'd never even thought about that on the way out. How am I going to get in?
There's nothing like that feeling. Even like it happened, it still happens sometimes now, but like the first time it happens and you're out there and you go to like start paddling back in and one of those waves goes up like that and it's you just looking down, you're like, oh.
You start to try and do that.
Yeah.
Should I stay or should I go?
Yeah.
Can you push it like, oh, fuck, I need to get in anyway. Just hold on and see what happens. But these are the things for people who aren't getting into surfing at a later age in life.
Yeah.
So there should be some kind of you can get yourself into so much difficulty problems. It's dangerous, eh?
Oh no, it is. I got in.
And you didn't ken. How are you going to ken? How are you
if
going
you've never been around the water as well, especially the surf,
no.
I mean, it's different going to a beach when it's just flat all the time. But when you're suddenly immersed in this, if you're suddenly immersed in this swell and surging tides, it's a steep learning curve, and it sounds ignorant, but if you don't know, you don't know. Like, how could you?
No.
But I guess that's probably maybe 10 years younger than you when I started surfing. But even at that, I must have started surfing at 31, I think. But when you start as a kid, you don't have the fear.
No.
Like you have that other element as well. You have that in your own headspace. Like, because you see the worst, don't you? When you're a kid, you're like, oh fuck it, I'll go.
Yeah.
You don't even think like that. You just go. Like no question. But you see
because you
everything.
haven't hurt yourself enough yet to realise how much things hurt.
It's definitely a lot harder as a kid. As an adult to start something like that.
I think to start, not only is it harder, but the risks I think are greater.
Definitely.
What would you say then to anyone out there listening or watching that's
I think it's
like wants to start surfing, but they're like 40 or 40 plus, and they're like, oh, too old to do it or whatever?
I think you should never be going in on your own. You should never be going to any beach on your own and going in the water if it looks anything bigger than 2 foot. Technically, you shouldn't be doing it. And you might have had 2 or 3 good days in 2 to 3 foot and think, I can surf now.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Yeah. What about anyone that wants to start? That's like is of an older age.
Didn't he go on Gumtree and buy thin shortboards? Didn't he do it? You know what I mean? Didn't he put yourself through the learning curve is so big in surfing. It takes so long.
Yeah.
If you waste 2 years, I quite believe you can. People that might have fell in love with surfing could easily get put off.
Yeah.
I was lucky that day. I seen it as like, wow, this is like a competition. You versus me. It's like rugby. It's like, oh, this energy pushed me back. I want to push forward.
Yeah.
I was kind of lucky that hooked me. But I think to put some people, more so the older generation, they could get put off. I think one session in the sea where you get rumble turned upside down, swallow a bit of water, and that maybe be you done, and you might have missed out on some great times.
I think the more I do like podcasts and things, the more I think surfing's one of those things that's so fucking great. You want to tell everybody how great it is,
and you
but you don't want them in the water.
Yes, true.
You want everyone to do it, but no one to do it
somewhere else.
Yeah, do it somewhere else, so you're not doing it.
And Swanny, I would refer to you is a local legend for sure. Well, I would have before I found out you only like me for my Instagram.
That's the same as me then.
Yeah, most people would know who you are, certainly on our coast and on the other East Coast, because there's 2 East Coasts here. It's weird. But I also think you might have spent in Scotland more time than anyone with Mr. Kelly Slater.
Aye.
As an accumulation of time.
I've been lucky to... I love this bit of the story. Like, so didn't ken you could surf in Scotland. Surfing was only in Hawaii. I've dipped my toes in it. Then all of a sudden, Tito messages me one day, Kelly Slater's got it. So now I've been watching surfing on the internet, and I ken who Kelly Slater is. That's the only way. And I'm like, he's coming to St Andrews. I didn't ken he was coming to play golf at this time, but Tito's I'm like,
he's buying a board off Gumtree. A beer.
He's going for a cheesy toast. A cheesy toasty.
Did he go for cheesy toasty?
Cheese toasty.
Cheesy toast.
I don't know. Go for a sandwich.
Bread and cheese. So Tito sent me the details, and turns out they play 4 different courses, and he was like, oh, man, I need to go and see if I could see this guy.
Yeah.
No, meet him. Just clock him in real life. See if he's tall or short or however, whatever. Yeah. See if he drops a surfboard while he's playing golf that I can pick up and sell and keep. So,
get another breakfast.
So went to St Andrews that day, and bearing in mind this is like the 10, 12 years ago, and surfing, very few people surfed.
Yeah.
In St Andrews, there was the Uni Surf Club, but like I said, there was 5 guys regularly at the beach. Anyway, I did kind of had binoculars or borrowed a camera that day, but the event reduced. I'm coming up the 18th, and I was zoomed in. And see, when I seen him, I was like,
why did it look like you're holding a rifle? What were you planning on?
I'm like, that is him. That's that guy I was watching on YouTube. That's him there. And I was like, proper starstruck. If you've never been starstruck, you probably didn't believe in it. And I had never been starstruck. I didn't think. I've met a few interesting people, but like
Jesus.
Miss doctors, nurses, I suppose.
Breakfast makers.
But I was proper starstruck, and he was just walking up. I was like, that is definitely him. Looks like the guy. It is him. It has to be him. So I was like, he's here. Can I reckon who I was for? I was like, honest, I've seen him. He's here. So that lassie that I was talking about, who was learning to surf at the same time as me, I messaged her, we're going to try and meet Kelly Slater. Yeah. She couldn't work, whatever commitment. So she's like, good luck. So anyway, he comes off. Turns out they won it that year. Him and his partner. Didn't they kind of could go?
We've come to the conclusion he doesn't do anything unless he's going to win.
Badly,
yeah, 100%.
So it turns out an amazing golfer too. So anyway, they won. Then the presentation of the trophy and that was done at the Swilcan Bridge. Can that?
Yeah.
It's just had all that controversy lately. Anyway, they went down there, a few photographs and that, and I clocked this wee lassie standing with a surfboard, a wee shortboard, wee lassie. I was like, well, if he's going to speak to anybody, he's probably going to speak to her. So the next thing, I'm standing next to her. I
don't even want to know the thoughts I just had about where that story could have gone.
Yeah, leave him there.
This is the area we need to be standing. If he's got to approach anybody, it's surely be the person with the surfboard. So as the photographs were found, kind of start to disperse. He walked across to the young lassie with the surfboard and
you shoved her clean out the way.
Grabbed that board after it. And Kenny says hi. And she said something. The next thing she's got the pen out and he signed the surfboard. And I was with another younger guy and his mum was there. I was like, starstruck, proper starstruck. 11 time we were chatting or whatever it was at 9 or 10, whatever that time. I was like, so is it all right to get a picture? I didn't kind of fast him. I just went, quick, take some pictures. Took some pictures, and then he must have been staying in the hotel at the back of the golf course. And Next thing I just watched him start to walk across on his own, just like he was unknown. He says that that's why he loved Scotland. Nobody knew who he was. He started walking along, and I was like, I'm going
to take him.
I'm going that way too. I wasn't, but I am now. So I just walked up beside him, and he just blathered a walk, and he was like, and I was like, so I was just asking him random questions. I can't remember what I was asking him that, but I remember somebody telling me a story that they thought they had seen Kelly Slater. I won't name the place, but no far from St Andrews, surfing at that spot in a white wetsuit. I thought, well, if anybody's going to surf in a white wetsuit, it's got to be Kelly Slater. So I asked him. Anyway, it wasn't him, but he did say he was playing golf at that course that day and had seen the wave and says, that looks a pretty decent wave. And I thought, well, then I says, well, by the way, there's a decent forecast.
Started giving up all the spots. I'll tell you anything.
That's his verbal diarrhea of spots.
I says, by the way, there's a decent swell tomorrow. There's good waves forecast for here tomorrow. I just forget. I'm now talking to him like he's my mate. I'm like, there's decent waves forecast here tomorrow. Do you fancy a surf tomorrow? And he says that at that point, I didn't know what he was talking about, but he says, I have to get back. I've got a competition in Hosinger, or however you pronounce it. So he was flying back the next day for that. Anyway, a couple of years later, he was back again and went down to watch him again. Yeah. Hopefully. I don't know why you need 2 photos of
the same. He's like that now. Swanny, where are we going?
I don't know why you need 2 photos of the same guy, but I thought, I could go. Anyway, he came off the course the next time, and he came here in your direction, probably because we had big wheel of Kelly boards or whatever. But he came here in that direction, and there was one of the guys there that surfs locally here, and he had asked him he says, could you make a wee video, because the junior surf team for this area were going out to Portugal or something, would you wish them luck? And aye, not a problem. And like that, I think he's done with
Wave Project Scotland.
With Skin Dog.
Oh, right, sorry.
We got talking about how just a nice, genuine, nice guy, and that's how he came across. But so he made that wee video, wished to Scotland go out and kick their arses out there in Portugal, and that kind of like, cool, you're already putting you're bigging up the Scottish guys. And he made the wee video and that, took a few pictures and that. And as he walked away, he stopped and turned back and he goes, come here a minute, like that. He didn't say it with that Scottish accent. He went, wait a minute, something to show you. No, I had in that conversation I had mentioned the wave, that is his wave garden on the ranch. I had mentioned that. He says, come here, something to show you. Pulls his phone out his pocket. Now I've got this on video. Yeah. And gets his phone out and starts showing us them. So there wasn't much footage at this time.
Right.
Start showing us. So I had my phone out. A genuine guy, but I'm starstruck. I'm like, so I'm videoing what he's shown me, but I'm next to him. I'm not doing it. I'm not hiding it. And he goes like this, and you hear him saying it. He goes, no, don't video that. He says, John's not even seen this. So I take it. He's on the boot. All his mates would be there, but showing us all these clips on his phone.
That's epic.
Just like I thought, how down to earth is that? I just thought these people wouldn't speak to you.
Yeah.
Klitschko was there and didn't even let I get a photograph with anybody. He just waved everybody away and walked away.
Bill Murray's there sometimes as well, isn't he?
He was there this year, wasn't he? With Kelly. He was
they played together, didn't they?
Apparently really good pals, they two. Really good
apparently
pals.
Like rips Kelly Slater at surfing as well. Bill Murray just tears shreds off of him.
Well, Tito says to Bill Murray, where's Kelly the day? And he goes, oh, God knows, probably in the water somewhere. They were both there, but just a genuine, and met him once more since that day.
That was this, or last year, 2022.
And I says, I was actually on the bike that day, and I says to him, Tito couldn't make it. I just says, see if you could. Anyway, I got a video. I says, could you do a wee video for my mate, Ken Tito? I says, he couldn't make it today. And he made this wee video and he goes, hey Tito, what's happening? Well, I can't wait to hear you at the Wave Ranch or something like that. You know what I mean? I sat to Tito and he's like, wow, that's just a normal. And then when I seen your podcast with Ben Skinner, Gravy. I was like, with Skinner, remember I says he sent me that message.
Oh, yeah.
Get well message when I was injured.
Yeah.
I've never met the guy. I didn't even stay in the same country, and he sent us a message saying, hope you heal soon, get back in the water quick. I was like, these are guys that are, they're just
it is community, isn't it, as well with surfing?
Yeah,
it's just a community.
Well, it was Swanny that was
that,
when last year 2022 when Kelly was up when he won again the golf, and I'd gone up. We spoke about this in the show before, but I'd gone up purposely to meet Kelly to ask him if he wanted to come on the show. But I went via. We were obviously speaking that morning. You were like, "Oh, he's walking up here. We'll go get him. We'll go see him. we'll get him in the van.
Bring your rifle.
We'll get him in the van. Bring your rifle.
Force him on the podcast. He will speak with us for an hour."
And Swanny was like, I'm on West Sands. He's here now. He's like teeing off or whatever, and he's walking up. We're going to go say hello. And I was like, right, I'm nearly there, but I'm going to go via East Sands and check the waves first. And then there was like just a clean sort of shoulder high wave, and I just surfed. I didn't even bother coming round. But that's how surfing goes. That's how it should be.
I know. You see a wave jump in,
That's what Kelly says. Never leave a wave for a wave. And I was trying to wave at him to get his attention, but I went and surfed.
His lady was with him that last time there. Kalani, I think her name is. I didn't spot her. Somebody I was with, I think it was Tito spotted. I was like, that's Kelly's girl there. She was there just to watch him, and so as he teed off, she started walking. We were going to walk a few holes. Tito says to her, how you enjoying it? Is this the first time you've been in Scotland? And for 7 holes, me, Tito and Kalani just walked along. She told us loads of stuff about their lifestyle, training, all that. Just again, another person that you class as maybe wouldn't speak to you, but just
super nice.
Normal people. Everybody's like normal people, but it's just you just sometimes didn't expect them to give you the time of day or hear the time of day to give you.
Yeah.
But I take my hat off to that guy, Kelly Slater. Just he's never not once appeared to be a genuine guy. If it's an act, you'll spot it at some point.
Definitely, yeah.
It's not an act.
The wheels will always come off at some point in a moment of stress.
Well, I mean, if the people out there want to look at all your surf photography and bones sticking out of your body, where can they find you online?
I've got Instagram and Facebook. Instagram's where I pick the photos that I think are good photos. There's no many on there. They can 80 or so. Single fin 66.
Single fin 66. Well, I mean...
Yeah. Well, do you know what I've loved about this?
This has been
Swanny?
An absolute eye-opener.
What I've loved about this is that, and I think it must be a testament of what's potentially going to be a good episode, I don't know, but I could have replaced me and Pete with 2 cardboard cutouts holding microphones in the conversation, but I got exactly the same. That's why everyone knows Swanny.
Yeah. It's like, Swanny's the equivalent of how do you know when you meet a vegan? They'll tell you.
Well, thanks for letting me hold a microphone.
That's all right. Next time, maybe you can hold it on your chin the whole time.
As per the brief at the start. Did you want to tell people about your gold teeth before we finish? Because all week, every time, because when I refer to you to other people like Pete, and he's like, "What about your mate Swanny?" And I'm like, "Oh, we've gold teeth."
Do you know what? All week he's been saying about Swanny, local legend. I said, "Have you got him booked in?" No. Why not? He said, "Oh, I'll see what to do." Yeah. And then you text yesterday. He's like,
Swanny was desperate to go. Couldn't wait. He was like, I've got better stories than everyone you've had on so far. That's an actual text message as well.
I've got a funny story about teeth. Nothing to do with surfing, but technically it has. The Wave project, you done it similar. So I work in residential care, looking after young people. Got one of them into the Wave project. A great story about the Wave project. Took him to an 8-week course every week, never missed it once. Just like occasionally we'd go, I do want to go, but always went. A bit like Got Your Grands, you never want to go, but when you get there, it's actually all right. So he went for the 8-week course, left the place that I worked in that we looked after him, and 2 or 3 years later I bumped into one of the guys for Wave Project and says, by the way, guess who we had back? So years later, 2 years later or something, had found himself in a place. He had moved back home with his mum and him and his mum went to another course of lessons with the Wave Project. And I thought, that's brilliant, because he got summoned the first time that he had it was a tough upbringing as such, and went back to the Wave Project. And I thought, that speaks volumes about the Wave Project. But
so what the fuck's that got to do with your teeth?
Well,
that's all I was thinking. Where's the relevance?
People always used to say, how you got gold teeth, Swanny? And what I used to say to them was, see, when you're at scale, kind of if you were good, you used to get a gold star, eh? They're like, aye. I says, well, when I used to go to the dentist, I was really good, and that's what they gave me. Gold teeth. that's I can't tell you the real story behind the teeth, but probably because I was getting knocked out for telling crap jokes. But that's how I used to sell it to the kids. Stick in and you'll get gold. Stick in, brush your teeth, and you'll get gold ones.
I may as well just leave it on that. I'm going to just say it was tablet anyway. So
well, that is the real reason.
I've been in Scotland a week eating tablet. I've already lost 4.
Well, you'll be getting fillings next week for sure.
Yeah, guaranteed.
That'll be a long-lasting memory of Scotland.
Well,
Hold your teeth.
It's been a pleasure having you on
It's been
chatting.
I'm still laughing at Iran.
It ran me over.
Yeah.
The only other one on there is
you can't say it.
Where Mitch keeps his spices in Iraq.
Oh, how long have you thought about that? Now we're
always served forward in Iraq.
That's how I lost my teeth. Got hit right in the chin.
How big was the wave? Or doubling up?
Richest country in the world. Capital's always Dublin.
Yeah.
I mean,
anyway, enough of the shit jokes. We'll go now. Bye.
Well, Swanny, I mean, let's let the listeners decide, because, what do you think? did Swanny do himself proud?
Where do you start with a story like that? Like, you got ran over, you got started surfing, like you say, and, you thought there was waves every day. I mean...
Yeah, and you'll do anything for a free breakfast, including getting hit by a car.
Yeah, and you're pretty keen on the old hospital food by the sound of it as well.
Yeah. Do you know the thing is with Swanny is I reckon there's a Swanny or a version of Swanny at most popular beaches around the UK. He's a guy that everyone knows who he is, and he'll talk to anyone and have a laugh with anyone, and he'll help anyone as well.
Yeah,
I think he's, to me, he's a proper local legend, and not just local to here, like further afield as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think most people round this way definitely know who Swanny is, and you probably get characters like that everywhere. Just a cool guy, like with stories literally coming out of his arse about everything. And he's just a funny dude. And I think you get that kind of. I hope you get that kind of guy everywhere, because that's the sort of. I remember before I joined the army, I was always told that it's characters that make the army, that make it work. And I guess it's the same in any walk of life. When you have characters like that, and he was one of the first people I met actually when I moved home, and started surfing, and he just contacted me on Instagram. And I can't remember, like, the conversation. The first thing he said to me, because I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just posted home, blah blah blah. I'm going to buy a house," and he was just like, "Don't do it! It's a trap." I was like, "Who is this guy? He's pretty cool."
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely one of those people that you can just start chatting to, and straight away, you get on with him. You can have a laugh, and I mean, he survived the 90s rave scene, so that says a lot about anyone that survived that. Just by the sounds of some of the stories, yeah. But what a guy. But, I mean, you could just talk to him forever. But what's been happening in your life?
I mean, a lot. There's a lot happened here. I mean, I don't know where to start. I had... I obviously done the Tyree trip, which we spoke about, and I think I've surfed twice since that, which is devastating. That's been about a month, in fact. Probably longer. It must be longer. And I surfed the last time I surfed was last Monday, right? And you might have seen my story I put on about it, but I went up to St Andrews, and my biggest quandary was, do I or don't I wear gloves? I thought I was being brave. I'll use a 4-3.
Yeah.
And it turned out there's been some mental weather system in the Atlantic, and it's caused the east coast, specifically in Scotland, to be around 6 degrees in water warmer than it should be, and that's happened in like 2 weeks. So if you remember the last time I'd surfed, I was still very much in a hood, boots and gloves. And
In
honestly,
what? Sorry?
hood, boots and gloves. I couldn't believe how warm the water was. So it's officially summer up here as well. So that was good.
Yeah.
And then, I thought I'd treat Special K to an early birthday present. She always wanted a bike, like a motorbike. And obviously, you don't just start off. Well, obviously, you don't just start off on a motorbike. I did. Different story. But so I got her a wee 50cc scooter, right? But I had a few little issues that I had to get fixed. And I've been working on that in the background. And I must have looked well dodgy because I've just been making excuses to disappear left and right to go, pick up a bit that's arrived and get it fitted and everything else. And the starter motor on my van's been going for a long time, probably a year.
You could have told her you were just going to pick up like surf hardware for the show stuff. That would have been an easier thing to do.
Yeah, she'd see through that.
All right then.
She'd see through that. So for about a year, my starter motor's been going in the van, right? So I got it fixed a week ago, finally got it replaced. Happy days. Then the van door, there's a little roller on the bottom of the van door that makes the door slide. This is probably because of your admin, it's finally broke. But the little roller, the little roller is broken off. So the door's just been sliding metal against metal. It's been horrendous. So I got everything fixed. Great. So make my excuses, come back, throw the bike in the back of the van. I literally drive out of the car park. This is only literally Monday, Tuesday morning this week. And drive out of the car park. Bang! It's like, what was that? My suspension just snapped clean in half on the van. I was like, oh my God, man. Like, what else? Anyway, get the bike dropped off. Man, they get the bike running almost, straight away.
Yeah.
Happy days. So get the bike over to her, surprise her. She loved the bike. It's really cool. I love the bike. Like, it's cool. And then that night, a little boy was away with the grandparents, for and went to watch the new Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
We never get any time to ourselves. So I was like, last minute, let's just go Stirling, go out for dinner. And man, we get to Stirling, right? And you'll have heard of Wallace Monument, as in William Wallace, his monument. It's a really busy road at rush hour as well, right? So we're driving down this road, and it's like really tight, windy road.
Yeah.
And Special K was like, "Oh, turn down here. I think you can get through this way." So we turn in. Turns out you can't. It's just a university campus. So we come back in, and the traffic is backed up for like 2 miles into the town centre. It's mental. And nobody's letting me out, right? Back into the join this road. So I'm one of them. Like I will stop traffic to let other people out. And because I'm a courteous driver, I kind of expect I demand that people let me out because I'm like that, right? And I guess that's where road rage comes from, is because people don't. So I'll pull out halfway. I'll just block the other side of the traffic till somebody lets me out. So I'm like I'm waving my hands at the guy who didn't let me out, and he's just like giving me the bird. And he's like, what? And I'm like, you fucking let me out. Anyway, I'm now sat behind this guy for like 20 minutes. Van starts making some funky noises. I'm like, what is that? So you turn the radio off and you become a detective, don't you?
I turn it up and ignore the sound.
Ignore it. Yeah, fair one. And mate, we get a little bit further down the hill, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to switch this off. It started getting hot. It started revving.
Yeah.
And I switched the engine off, took the key out, but all the lights on the dash were still on. I was like, oh, that's not good. And then smoke, mate, starts billowing out of the engine. I'm like, oh my God. Pop the bonnet, there's smoke everywhere. And the only thing I'm aware of is the guy in front that I've just been kicking off with is like, absolute bellend. I was actually more gutted at that because I'd be like, mate, fair play, you win. So the starter motor had burnt itself out, the new one. So we went for dinner, ended up having a chippy, sat in the van whilst the AA was there.
Is that the
starter motor?
Is that the starter motor that was on its way out when I came up to see you?
Well, no. The new one's been fitted.
Oh,
it was
the new one was fitted. Right.
It was the new one that went.
I was going to say, yeah.
So the guy removed it, right? And he was like, I'll tell you what, I'll remove it. We'll bump start the van. And it means you can drive it back to your garage. And this is like 60 miles away. I was like, right, that's cool. Happy with that. This is last night. He's like, just don't stall your van. Like, because there's no starter motor in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't ever remember stalling my van, but I've never thought about it as a conscious thing. So then I'm like, like every set of lights or whatever I'm stopped at, like I'm revving the tits off of it just to make sure I'm not going to stall.
It's one of those things, though, isn't it? When you like, you don't stall something you don't think about, and then you stall your car or your van when you haven't done it for years. You feel like such a twat when you do it.
The pressure, mate, I was under driving back last night. Even on the motorway, I was thinking, oh, I'm in fifth gear. Maybe I should leave it in third. just so the revs aren't low.
Oh, dear.
And a bloody nightmare.
Oh, good times. So you've had that, and you've had the your Lost Shore is well underway.
It's well underway, mate. Yeah, I'm having a great time. We've got an amazing giveaway that's just, in fact, at date of recording, in 33 minutes, that will finally close. We're giving away an epic prize for like one person plus 3 guests to either have a surf lesson or a surf session.
Yeah.
Stay in the accommodation, load of gift vouchers, and some food and drink. So like properly epic giveaway.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go through the absolute noise and pain in the arse of pulling all the names together into the draw app on Monday. So I'm not looking forward to that, but proper good giveaway, man.
The Lost Shore guys, they're on Instagram and Facebook and everything now, aren't they? So you can go and follow them on there as well and see what's happening.
Yeah.
Basically, if you don't know what it is, if you missed the Lost Shore episode, Lost Shore is a wave garden in Scotland, in Edinburgh.
It will be, yeah, and we should be open back end of summer next year. So check it out, follow the socials, and keep up to date with what's going on because it's going to be exciting.
Speaking of competitions, see what I did there?
Yeah. Well, actually, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Has the winner of the longboard competition from FCS got in contact?
I said not with me. I did put on the thing that the winner on YouTube and under the comment, and they haven't got in contact yet. So I mean, we've now put it under their thing. Tried to send a message. You can't message on YouTube, so there's nothing I can do about there. We'll say it on here now as well. And by the time the next episode comes out, if they haven't claimed it, I've got a new longboard fin. So if they haven't claimed it, we will redraw.
So what you've been trying to say for weeks and weeks and months, actually, because it's been a few months now, as the 2 competitions have started since, is that you reckon the longboard competition didn't get as much traction as the shortboard one based on it was like a less humid day and there was different flowing traffic around your area where you live. You had all these excuses. But the fact is, somebody's won and realised it's longboard gear and doesn't want it. That's
what
a
prick.
is.
What an absolute prick you are, aren't you? No, I'll tell you what it is. The actual thing of it is that I said the longboarding one, you'd made it too complicated when you did the stupid video for it, for the giveaway. And you were like, no, if people want to win, they'll win. But you were like, for the shortboard one, it was just type Y in the box underneath, and everyone did that. For the longboard one, it was like, you've got to be stand facing north when the wind's blowing east. You've got to type with your left hand while standing on your right leg, and make sure you comment on this one, that one, and this one, and do that. It was too complicated, and I told you that, and you didn't listen because you're Scottish, and you've got your Scottish ways, and you do your Scottish things with your Scottish surfing, and you don't listen to me ever.
But a lot of people still entered. And a lot of people still entered facing east while the wind was blowing north.
Yeah.
But we've got another one.
What happened to Leighton, eh? Where's Leighton? Why can't he be here anymore? Fucking idiot. Honestly, I tell you. Speaking of Leighton as well, we will speak of the competition, but speaking of Leighton, he has been chosen. I've told you, I think, on here before, and you would have seen it if you follow him, to do an epic hike across the desert to Petra, I think it is, and you say Indiana Jones, that thing on the Last Crusade, that's the temple in the wall. Yeah, trekking to that, and it's raising money for charity, and he's going to come on. We're going to try and work it out if we can. I'll either record something with him, depending on timing of when he's available at the moment, because he's still got loads of FE stuff going on and everything, so I might just record something quickly with him, and if we can do it where we can all jump on together, that would be amazing.
Yeah, no, totally.
if not, I'll record something about his thing that he's doing, and we'll drop it into an episode somewhere. So,
do you know how far it is he's got to trek?
20 foot, 30 foot, I don't know. No idea.
It's pretty bloody far. So I was just trying to work out, because I was speaking to him. I was like, I get that it's a big deal, but how have you won?
Well, no, he's not. No, so what's happened? He's been nominated, and it's people with stories. He'll tell you more about it. It's people with stories of like things that have either happened to them personally or things surrounding their life. So everything that's happened with Effie, people nominated him to do it, and he got chosen as one of the participants to take part.
I get that, and it's amazing that he's been chosen. But what I'm saying is, if somebody came to me and said, "Look, everyone's agreed that you're epic, so your prize is you now have to go walk 300 miles through the desert," I'm like, I don't want to walk 300 miles through the desert. Where's the gift in this for me? Is there a car at the end?
You're a fucking idiot, aren't you? You really are a fucking
It's a
idiot.
long way, isn't it?
Oh dear, yeah. Well, he likes walking, doesn't he? So yeah, and apparently he keeps threatening to come surfing with me at some point soon as well.
I've heard that, and I tell you what, if he does, that needs to be filmed.
It will be
for the sheer pressure, if nothing else. But yeah, definitely
the sheer pressure of you better catch this wave. It's your first wave.
Nah, do you know what? I hope he does, because I reckon he'll just have a massive release.
Yeah,
just catching even a rubbish wave. Like, I think he'll just have a blowout, which probably will be deserved and welcome.
Yeah, nothing like a massive release.
Let's just move straight on from that. So
yeah, as something flew down in front of my face, and I just wafted my arm across the screen. If you're wondering about my, so I'm in my new little office space, which is starting to come along. There's still like Ghostbuster picture on the floor down there. There's a.
You look like, if anyone that's not.
I'm in the broom
watching
cupboard.
This, no, it looks like you're doing a hostage video, and you've been made to film a piece to your family. Like, they're treating me okay, and you're like going, they're definitely treating me fine. They're fucking not. That's what it looks like. The only thing you're missing is an orange jumpsuit.
As soon as you started saying that, I just looked at the screen and I was like,
realised I'm right.
It does actually, yeah. So it's a hostage 21 here, and reporting from anyway, FCS are going to give us
FCS. We're doing another giveaway with FCS and Surf Hardware UK. Thanks to Brad Rochford.
Can we make this one really easy?
Yeah, we'll make this one super easy. So what we're giving away is going to be Philippe Toledo surfboard equipment set. So that's going to include.
I thought you were going to give away Philippe then.
We're going to give away Philippe Toledo, yeah. No, what we're giving away is an FCS Philippe Toledo Tread Light 3-piece tail pad for your board, and a 6-foot FCS Freedom Helix leash. Now, these are the leashes I use as well. I think they're amazing. Really,
I got one of those as well. I think Brad gave me one of those.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, they're pretty epic. Tangle-free leashes, super strong.
First time I used it, and nearly lost my fingers. Yeah.
What kind of advert's that?
It's strong. It took my fingers off.
But it's fantastic bit of kit. It's the kit I use as well. So yeah. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning this, all you need to do is follow Surf Hardware UK and tag a friend in the post, and that is Instagram.
On Instagram.
And nice and simple. So Surf Hardware UK, you got to follow them and tag a friend in the comments.
In the post that will be.
In the post, yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be a dedicated post to the giveaway.
Yeah, and it'll be Mitch looking pretty in his giveaway attire.
No, I'm not going to wear the giveaway attire.
You got to.
I'll give away the giveaway attire.
Yeah, you should do.
I'm not. I love that Hurley top.
You love the what top?
Hurley. Hurley, whirly, purple burglar alarm.
There you go. Well, yeah. I mean, what else has happened then? Go on. You look like you were going to say something else. You got excited.
Yeah.
You with the
I saw a post. Well, actually, there's two things have annoyed me actually. One is Morrison's, and we'll come back to that. And the other one is the government. I saw this post the other day, right? And I don't know why it never occurred to me before, but the post basically said, you give me a credit score. You tell me how good and bad I'm doing.
Yeah, I sent that to you.
Oh, did it come from you?
Yeah.
All right, you explain it then.
So it says basically the UK government is like £3 or £6 billion in debt, or what have £600 billion in debt, or trillion, or whatever it was, and you've got the audacity to give me a credit score.
Yeah, that was it. I didn't realize that was you that came from.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have brought it up if I realized.
Oh, no, you wouldn't. Yeah, there's that one. The other one I saw that really wound me up was that I think it's Southern Water or someone like that are on about going bankrupt, or
I know, yeah,
and what they gave to shareholders and how much shit they're still dumping in the water, and the government are going to bail them out. I also saw something else very interesting, which was about the Titan. Is it the Titan submarine that was going down to see the Titanic?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? And how it was spread out over so many days, the news of it, and the things that got shoved through government and passings. This was mostly in America, whilst this was all being fed out really slowly. And so there's a lot of stuff like that going on at the moment. But that's a different podcast, and I don't want to talk about politics because they're all a bunch of scheming bastards that couldn't agree on the colour of shite.
So let's talk about Morrison's then.
Yeah, all right then. So
because I have spoken before about, my passion for a Morrison's salad box, or as Special K would call it, a
pasta box.
A box of pasta, thank you, because that's literally all I've got in it, and a bit of couscous.
Yeah. However, and you're a bit partial to a Morrison's breakfast, which, to be fair, are shite compared to like a proper greasy spoon cafe.
I think you just had a bad experience. But anyway, Morrison's salad box, right? So for a medium one, you get a meal deal. It's always been £3, right?
£3.
Obviously, yeah, £3. Obviously, everyone is now with a cost of living crisis, as they call it.
Yeah. Or we could call it the everyone's fucking cashing in crisis.
Yeah, what's that word that companies are doing? Profiteering. That's the one.
Yeah.
And it's now like £3.75, right, for the same Morrison salad box, right? That's only 75 pence, but the accumulative difference when you go for a big shop, and that's the same on every item, it's huge.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got my
bread's
salad
gone
box
up 50p. 50p on a loaf of bread.
Shocking. So I got my meal deal, right, which in my head was £3.75, and I got one other item, and I can't remember what it was, but I knew in my head, because I tally everything up as I'm going round, what it was coming to. And I get to the till, and it was quite a bit more. And I was like, what? I don't get it. Like, this shouldn't be that. And I shouted the guy over, and I was like, mate, this should be this. Why does it cost this much? And he went, oh, it costs more. It's cheaper if you have a loyalty card. And I was like, what? I don't have a loyalty card. And he's like, well, yeah, it's cheaper if you have a loyalty card. And then I realized, I was like, no, it's not fucking cheaper if you have a loyalty card. It's the same price. It's more expensive if you don't.
Yeah.
That's two very different things. It's not cheaper because you're harvesting my data. It's more expensive because I'm not allowing you to harvest my organs of data.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually raging. I was so annoyed.
I think I've had one like that before at an Asda checkout when I was trying to buy something on one of those self-scanning things. It wouldn't do it. And the woman came up behind me, and I didn't see her, and I stood back, and I nearly walked into her, and she said something to me along the lines of, well, if you get out of the way, I can help you out. To which my response was, I'm throwing all my toys out the pram now. And I just dropped the stuff on the floor and walked out.
And I actually believe you did as well.
I did. I actually did. I was like, fuck this, I'm going. Bye. So it's just...
and I guess while we're on a supermarket rant, I was in Sainsbury's.
So what's wrong with Sainsbury's and Tesco's as well?
Well, I don't know about Tesco's, but
Tesco do the same thing with the loyalty card as well. By the way,
they all do now. To be fair, they're all cashing in on harvesting data and profiteering. But I was in Sainsbury's this morning, and I was walking around, and I saw this guy at the end of an aisle, just talking to his missus like absolute shit, like proper shit. He was like, "Oh, I don't know where you're going. You don't even know where you're going. No one knows where you're going." And you're just like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right? And it's like full volume in the middle of a busy supermarket. Anyway, I was cutting round a bit more, and then I ended up in the same aisle. Sorry, I was walked past the two of them. And this woman, man, she just looks so frail.
Yeah.
And he was just still giving her shit. and she was putting something in her basket, but actually she put it in the basket and then she just started punching it in the basket, and I could see like it was just clearly years of like just abuse and aggression, which I recognized from my own childhood. And I was like, man, I felt so sorry for him. And then I walked past him again, and he was just, I don't know what he was saying to her, but he was saying some crap to her. And she was on like the shelf grabbing something, but actually I realized when I walked past, she was just hiding in the shelf crying.
Yeah.
I was like, fucking hell, man. And I kind of just waited, right? And then the guy, he said something to her, and I think she nearly lost it. And he came over and he grabbed her and shoved her.
Yeah.
And man, I lost my shit. Like I went fucking nuts. Which it takes through my experiences in Afghan, I've realized I don't mind losing face with stuff. Like if people can give me abuse, I don't really care. Like I've spent 5 minutes standing on an IED, like me cutting you up in a roundabout and vice versa. I don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
So for me to actually lose it,
apart from when someone
and I was raging. But I lost it, man, and I went for the guy, and he just shit it like an absolute fanny.
Well, they always do, don't they?
And the thing is, I'm probably well aware that I've maybe made that situation worse for her when they go home. Because the thing is, if that's what somebody's like in public, you know, you don't know. But at the same time, man, I can't not say something, you know, and get involved, because that's just, I felt so bad for her. Like I fucking felt awful. Like
it's
I just saw it on her face.
It's a difficult thing, isn't it? Like, so I had a friend, my friend Mark, who used to live with me. Actually, he's passed away now, but nice guy. Used to own a nightclub, and he was walking down the street once, and he saw a bloke punching this woman in the face, like full on punch, like had hold of her with one hand and was punching her with the other. And he was a big guy, and he grabbed the guy and threw him off of the girl.
Yeah.
And turned round, and as he turned round, the girl jumped on his back and started hitting him, going, "Get off of him! Get off of him! Get off!" And it's like, what the hell's just happened? You know, like this bloke's just punching her in the face, and she's
still defending him.
Yeah, still defending. And I mean, like the whole domestic abuse thing and stuff like that is, I can see, because we have this conversation like we've had with different people about why you maybe need women only surf clubs or something like that. But I can see it for people who have been victims of like domestic abuse and different things like that, will feel safer in a group of just women. And I can totally see that more groups like that need to be available for people who are in those situations. Or
but also, yeah, because you're creating that safe space, but at the same time, you're never going to get over the problem if you're not inclusive.
Yeah, but I think see, I've been thinking about this quite a bit lately, and I think there's two or three tiers to that. There's the tier of women only, because they're at the big. It'd be like a journey, you know, of like a sort of
totally,
maybe like call it like a rehabilitation, which it shouldn't be, because it should be the other way around. You should they shouldn't have to feel anything like that, but that it should be like the rehabilitation of like, first of all, if you've been in that situation of like abusive situation where you start surfing with only women, and then you introduce like men and women surfing together, and you know it's got to move forward, so you're all surfing together. And
totally,
but it's a difficult conversation. I think I'd like to have the conversation at some point and get a few different people from like women's surf clubs on and have that conversation where we can say, like, not. It's a difficult one because you don't want to sound like a. What's the word?
Well, you don't want to sound like you're patronising anyone.
Yeah, you don't want to sound patronising. You don't want to be like misogynistic, you know, or anything like. You don't want to sound like that. But there's questions I think I know I want to ask, and I know other men want to ask them as well about like women's surf clubs and stuff like that.
Well, no one ever solved anything by not asking questions and not speaking.
Who asked you? Shut up.
So this entire episode took a tangent,
didn't it?
But Swanny was awesome.
Swanny was awesome. So sorry we took it in weird directions afterwards. But yeah, Swanny was great. But
and do you know what we should probably finish on? Swanny, since we recorded that episode,
has visited 16 other hospitals.
Well, no, the thing, he's not far off. He actually he wiped out on an amazing day. I think I spoke about it before, but one of the best days we've had up here in a long time, if not ever. And last wave, as it always is, just wiped out, awkward, landed on his rail, broke his ribs. Like so. Yeah. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
Got to pay the piper.
Yeah. That's it then. Until next time.
Until the next one.
Take care of yourselves.